Hi there, this is Professor Wooten and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about writing to impress and resume writing, the best way to sell yourself on paper. When we're writing to impress, we want to improve our credibility so that the people reading our writing will believe us, that they'll have faith in us, and that we will appear as a credible resource. To start with, avoid general statements. Be very specific, as specific as you can, using active language and making sure that you don't have any typos. Be concise. Don't overwrite. It is very important that your reader is able to get through what you're writing as quickly and easily as possible. Avoid slang and cliches. When you're writing either academically or professionally, you need to maintain a formal tone. Use appropriate language for your identified audience. Avoiding general statements. Generalities apply widely to many instances, but they can be too vague when details and support are called for. General words and phrases refer to whole categories or large classes of items. Specific words identify items within a group. When you're being concise, you are trying to have clear communication with your reader. Concision is the key to that clear communication. Wordiness makes writing very difficult to read. It's hard for a reader to fully grasp what you're trying to say if there are too many words. Eliminate what your audience doesn't need to know, what they already know, and whatever does not further the purpose of your writing. To avoid slang and cliches, remember, slang is not appropriate in professional or academic writing. Slang creates an informal tone and, depending on your audience, has the possibility to offend someone. Cliches are overused expressions that have lost their ability to communicate effectively. They also create a less formal tone. So when we talk about using appropriate language, we mean standard written English that is the generally accepted language of academia and business. It conforms to the standard rules of grammar, sentence structure, punctuation, mechanics, and spelling. People are often judged by how well their writing conforms to this level of English. Informal tone is closer to ordinary speech and includes slang, colloquialisms, and regionalisms. Informal tone is imprecise, uses contractions regularly, uses first or second person point of view. Simple verb structures are present, and it may include sentence fragments. Semi-formal tone is a mix of casual and scholarly language. It uses standard vocabulary, conventional sentence structures, and few or no contractions. This is often a level used for narrative college papers, personal writing, and public writing. Formal tone is scholarly and contains sophisticated structures and vocabulary not likely to be used when speaking. It uses third-person pronouns only. Many businesses and government entities encourage this high level of formality. Emphasis can be added when you want your readers to remember your message. Use appropriate parallelism. So if you're writing items in a list, make sure that they match in tone, make sure that they match in level of vocabulary, and in number. If one is plural, they're all plural. If one is single, they're all single. Use strong adverbs. Use striking language. Don't say cold when you can say freezing. Don't say hot when you can say blazing. And use visual design whenever it's appropriate. Know the difference between the denotation and connotation of a word. Denotation is the dictionary definition, the literal definition of a word. Connotation is the group of ideas implied but not directly indicated by the word. A connotation gives a reader a specific reaction or feeling. Colloquialisms are the language of casual conversation and informal writing, saying kids instead of children, flunk instead of fail, dunk it instead of achieve it. Slang terms are made-up terms or words given new definitions to be novel or unconventional. Saying someone is 100, meaning they're genuine. Aw, snap, darn it. Bling, to refer to shiny accessories. To jack something is to steal it. We don't want to use either colloquialisms or slang terms in professional writing or academic writing. Regionalisms are words or phrases more commonly used in one geographical area rather than in another. So in some places you might say, get me that pail. Other places you would say, hand me that bucket. A bag versus a sack. A porch versus a veranda. A seesaw versus a teeter-totter. Or soda versus pop versus cola. Jargon is the specialized language of various trades, professions, and groups, such as lawyers, plumbers, electricians, doctors, and teachers. Specialists within these groups use these terms to communicate with each other in a concise way when referring to complex concepts, objects, or techniques. When you're writing professionally or academically, try to avoid jargon if your audience is not familiar with it. Let's move on to resume writing. An effective resume focuses on the organization to which you're applying. You should always craft your resume to the needs of a specific job for which you are applying. Resumes for entry-level positions are normally 1 page in length. Those with significant experience may have a resume of 2 or more pages. Those in academia or in professions like the law or the medical field often have what's called a curriculum vitae or CV, and it can be quite extensive because it can include publications and other materials that are necessary to show that they're qualified for a job. When designing your resume, try to fill your page and avoid any blank space, but don't use fancy fonts. So some resume guidelines. Create a visually appealing, uncluttered format. Avoid overloading the resume with too much information. Use headings and bullets for emphasis and clarity. Use white space strategically to divide sections of your resume. Organize to emphasize your strongest skills. Use action verbs and keep lists in parallel structure. Check carefully for typos or misspellings before you send out a resume. There are various sections of a resume. Always include your full name. Don't use initials or nicknames. Your address, an email and/or telephone number. What is your career objective? Relate this section directly to the job you want. Include the job title you seek and the skills you can offer. Don't emphasize what you want from the job. Emphasize what you can do for the company. And again, be specific. You can also have a skills statement or section, a descriptive phrase outlining your key qualifications or skills, followed by 3 to 5 bulleted statements that highlight additional information from your work history. The education section should include the names of colleges you've attended, degrees and graduation months, your major, minor, or specialization, and a grade point average. Work experience or other experience should include job titles, places worked, locations, and dates. Include part-time, temporary, and volunteer work, as well as co-op programs and internships. Duties you performed and skills acquired should be bulleted statements under the job description. The skills section should include jobs, club activities, volunteer experience, projects, special offices held, or increased responsibilities, as well as skills developed from these experiences. You can have an activities or college activities section that demonstrates your leadership capabilities and your level of involvement within your community. References available upon request is not a good idea. It is much faster for employers if they can check your references prior to scheduling an interview. Resume styles can be either chronological or skills-based. Chronological resumes should present your education and experience in reverse chronological order, meaning you start with your most recent position and work your way backward. If you've had a lot of jobs, you really don't need to go back more than 10 years unless something is crucially specific to what you are applying for now. Skills resumes should be arranged from the most relevant skills to the least relevant, followed by your education and work experience. The most effective resume is organized, has visual appeal, includes parallel headings, is the preferred length, is unique, and stands out from the others in the pile. While writing a good cover letter or letter of intent is a great way to get attention brought to your resume, the resume itself has to be something that looks appealing to read. To recap, writing to impress involves the use of standard English, avoidance of slang and jargon, appropriate tone, and appropriate language. When writing a successful resume, you need to tailor it to fit the job you seek, make it easily readable, avoid graphics and special fonts, and highlight those traits the company values most. Thank you for watching our video on writing to impress and resume writing. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a note in the comments, and we really appreciate you stopping by. I am Professor Wooten, and I have a great day.